Well, hello, fellow addicts. Welcome back to Addicts Live, the first of 2018. Well, the first live episode of 2018, because we did have a broadcast in 2018, but it wasn't live. So for those who don't know, I am Alyssa, your resident head addict, and joining us on the show this week is the resident crankster, Patrick.
Hey, time is relative. This may be live. It may not be live. We may or may not be here. We don't know.
Exactly. And we're joined once again by the whiz kid, the one, the only, Super Safi.
How's it going? Happy New Year's, everyone. 2018. Divided by 3.
Exactly. And the Wickster was supposed to join us, so we'll see if he pops on. He's probably sleeping. We'll see if he wakes up and realizes and comes on. So just a reminder, this is meant to be interactive. So ask your questions, share your comments below us here, and we'll be happy to answer them later in the show. And let's get started, shall we, boys? It is the new year. Generally, the new year means a great opportunity to organize. I'm not so organized today. My computer's a mess. Which brings us to the Addicts Live topic this week, nuking Springfield. Is it a happy nuke year for you? Take a moment to answer the poll question below, right below us here, if you haven't already, and let us know if you've ever nuked your Springfield. Of course, it wouldn't be TSTO without something going on in Springfield. So before we get into our nuking conversation, we are going to take a few minutes to talk about the Buck Stops Here, Stonecutters, tie-in thingamabob that hit Springfield last week. So guys, thoughts on what's going on in Springfield right now before we get to nuking?
I thought it was great. I had a blast. I mean, the only thing that was kind of weird was we had so many different tie-ins and different things running at the same time that seemingly kind of overlapped, that it was kind of hard to keep track. And if you got premium characters, which I did, I got a couple of them, then there was a lot of extra stuff going on, and they all wanted Lisa, so that was a little annoying. But I thought it was really entertaining. And as you know, my thank God it's Fur Day post yesterday, Friday filler post, there was enough politics and interesting convo in it to at least invoke the never thought of that kind of conversation. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
Saf?
Yeah, I was glad to see Birch Barlow in the game. I have the Simpsons trading cards, and Birch Barlow is one of my favorite cards. So I was really excited when I saw Birch was going to be in the game. I've kind of been rooting for him to be in the game for a little while too, so that was nice. And with the episode tie-in, I like the episode. I'll admit I'm a bit of a Ed Sheeran fan these days, so it was nice to see him on The Simpsons and to have his character in the game.
Yeah, I wasn't as wild about the episode, but that's okay. That's. I mean, of all the stuff, I like the updates that we got in the game better than I did the episode. I felt the episode was a little forced. I don't know. Just it wasn't as good as the last couple we've had. But hey, it's all right. Again, let's go back to where we are in the world. Yin yang. You liked it. I didn't like it as much. Somewhere in the middle is Alyssa, right?
Team Patrick?
Not so much.
I don't know if I'm in the middle. I mean,
yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I mean, it was a pretty typical Simpsons episode. I did like seeing Bart get so into science. That was fun. And, you know, getting crazy into chemistry. But I don't know. I feel like they've done that story a few times. So what's another episode where they recycled the same storyline again and again?
I like that last little bit about La La Land and Moonlight.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem is that I admit that maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. I hated La La Land, the movie. Hated it. And so I was so thrilled last year when it got shut out of the Academies, basically the Academy Awards. I was just thrilled. And so everything that now resembles La La Land, it's like, no. Let's not go back there. You know, so it's a
well,
I got the homage. I got it.
Been Best Actress, which is why we had that whole situation. But yeah,
I like musicals, kind of, but that one was just badly acted, badly sung. I don't know, choreography was goofy. I don't know.
Yeah, so I was gonna say the reason why Patrick didn't like the episode is because he hated the La La Land movie. Because I remember that from this time last year, you were talking about how terrible that movie was. So I thought that was funny.
Yes.
Sorry guys, I am having like massive technical difficulties today. My computer just decided it wanted to be weird, and yeah. So anyway, so I am running
public service. Can I give a public service real quick?
Go ahead.
On that note, all of you who don't like to do computer updates and don't like your computer to update, et cetera, do it. The last 2 weeks, there's been some really nasty stuff out there. So do the updates. Make sure your virus stuff is up to snuff. Everybody's sending out huge updates right now. So do it. And now back to our regular program.
Yes, but don't do it, a half hour before or 40 minutes before you're supposed to do a live web show, because apparently my computer decided it wanted to take forever to really get back to normal. So I am operating this week with my show notes on my cell phone, which is not pleasant for me because I'm trying to navigate between show notes and comments, and it's not going well. So if I seem a little disjointed, guys, that's why. So back to the mini update, Stonecutters and the episode tie-in. It was interesting to me that they had all three at once. The mini event was fun. It was, you mix Stonecutters with politics, like I've been saying, what could possibly go wrong? But it was fun because they made fun of everybody. I know there's a lot of people that get bent out of shape, that they're attacking one side or the other, but those people aren't reading what's truly being said, because then they freak out and overreact, and they're not realizing that it's back and forth. So you got to have a little bit of an open mind. It is The Simpsons. And I will note, Patrick wrote his post yesterday, and I warned Patrick before he wrote the post, and I read it, and I thought it was okay. He didn't go where I thought he was going to go.
Hey, I like Rush.
No, Birch.
Birch, yeah, sorry.
Yes, he didn't go where I thought he was going to go, but I will say that, guys, odds are you're not watching the show if you're one of these people. But when you come to the site and you spew off some crazy political rant and go absolutely berserk about nonsense, one, it's going to be deleted, and two, I'm going to check the IP address, and if that IP address doesn't match any other comment you've ever written on the site, if you basically just coming to the site to spew garbage, that's like your guaranteed way to end up in the spam basket anyway. So don't. It's not worth it.
On a positive note, I gotta say, I was expecting a ton of deleted, crazy, whatever, and you readers, users were pretty cool. I got to admit. Most of what I saw was okay.
You can check the spam. A lot of stuff went into spam. I spammed quite a few times.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Okay, I take it back.
People must have filters that come up apparently, and just they certain keywords, and then they spew garbage. So I will tell you all, we are all, and this includes Wookie, we are all from various political backgrounds. We all have different points of view, yet we all get along, and we all have the same point of view when it comes to this game. It's a game. You got to have an open mind. Just relax. Just take it down a notch and just relax.
Well, and on that, to that point, I think that we do get along. We are open to one another's opinions, and that's the way the world should be. Hello. Let's try that out for a while. Let's try not being polarized. Let's try not pointing fingers. Let's come up with some solutions. That would be unique. So anyway, I think again, we'll move ahead and be happy that maybe we're done with that stuff. I don't know.
Well, so I was going to say too, the Stonecutters, it was nice that they brought Stonecutters back. Really great pricing if people didn't get anything. Obviously the first time around, a lot of it was free, so that's even better pricing. But for those who missed Stonecutters and didn't get a chance to buy stuff or didn't get a chance to get any of the items for free, you had a great opportunity to get, especially a lot of the Stonecutters themselves, for 10 donuts. There were a few questions from people wondering if this meant Stonecutters 2 was coming. Personally, I don't think so. And I've said this in one of the posts and in the comments. And I don't think so because I feel like, one, they've kind of done everything they could do with Stonecutters. This was a way that they could kind of tie it back in to bring it in, but not really do a full-blown event. But 2, if they were going to do Stonecutters 2, you would get number 1 or Homer for free. You wouldn't have to pay donuts for them. It just because they would be too essential to the quest lines. So just like you got Kodos and Kang for free with Christmas, the same thing would have happened. So you wouldn't have seen number 1 in the store. So I don't think that we're going to get a Stonecutters 2. Of course, it's EA. They're crazy. Who knows? But I don't think so.
I was kind of surprised that I hadn't gotten what is it? What's the alien's number?
Number 51?
51.
51. There we go. Yeah, of course. Area 51. But yeah, and I did pick it up. And it was cute and it was funny and it was
10 donuts. You should have picked it up. If you didn't pick it up, I would tell you were nuts.
I did. Stop yelling at me. And I'm still seasonally farming all of the Safi mode. So, so it was free money, free donuts. Why not?
Seasonally farming.
Yeah, that means I only farm when I wanna. Instead of being addicted to farming, I just farm when I wanna. And I still haven't gotten the percentage route, but that's another conversation. So,
all right. So does anybody else have anything they'd like to share about the mini event Stonecutters or the episode tie-in or the episode in general?
No, I'm good.
All right. Let's move on to our main topic, nuking. A couple weeks ago, actually back the end of November before Christmas, I put up a post asking you guys to share your thoughts about nuking because we were going to do an Addicts Live about nuking. And you guys really kind of blew me away by the number of comments and opinions and everything. It's very riveting conversations going on in the comments there. And there were, almost 200 comments. So I can't read every single one of them. I did pick a few out. We'll get to them a little bit later. But if you haven't read those comments about nuking and you're thinking about nuking, you're not sure what you want to do, I link the post below us here in the show notes where we talked about it. Go over there, read those comments because there's a lot of good insight, opinions, tips, tricks, pros and cons for doing it. People who've done it and they had regrets, people who did it and loved it, people who wish they did it. So really good conversation. So check that out. But as far as our own opinions, guys, have you ever nuked your Springfield?
My button's bigger than your button. So no, sorry. I had to throw that in there. It's been in the news. What can I say?
There's a lot that's been in the news. That feels like that was 18 months ago.
I know. Isn't it amazing? Let's not go there. Anyway, no, I have to admit, this is going to be a really short conversation for me, and maybe everyone's going to be really happy to hear that. So all I'm going to say is no, I've never nuked. No, I won't be nuking for all the reasons that I've stated. I like my old Springfield. I've got way too much invested in design. Nuking just seems like a non-winning situation for me. So there we go. You two now can discuss amongst yourselves.
Well, if you have yin, you have to have yang. So
there we go. See?
Yes, I have nuked. Yes, I will nuke again. And for me, it's a can't lose.
All right. I've never actually pushed the nuke button. The nuke button came into the game in, I think it was 2014, right? Actually, I think it came in with Stonecutters. And it was, this cool thing because before that, people were storing their whole Springfield and rebuilding. I'm in that category. When I first started playing, I didn't like the way I designed my Springfield, and then I was able to buy more land and open up everything. So once I bought all the land available at that point, I stored everything and rebuilt everything. But at that point, it was like level 33. So it wasn't that much to, or I don't even think it was like 31. It wasn't that much to put back out. But now, honestly, I couldn't imagine doing it. My Springfield is so big, and I don't even own the land. My Springfield's so big. There's so many areas that I like, that if I need to tweak, I can tweak. But I can't see storing every single thing because it's so massive. And the thought of trying to rebuild the entire thing is such a daunting process because, I've been playing this game for almost 6 years. So, well, I shouldn't say almost 6 years because it's just been 5 years, but going on 6 years of playing this game. So I've got 5.5 years of crap in my town. You really think I want to store? I've got a lot of stuff in storage too. So now I got to figure out what I had out, what I had in storage, play that game. It's just not worth it to me. personally, I'm a big fan of the area select tool that they introduced. I think it was last summer, where you could store a section or just move an entire section. That's probably one of my favorite features because
for me that negated nuking. I mean, for me that negated the need to nuke because I can literally take a big giant chunk of development that I have and store it or move it around, and that really solves my purposes. I mean, I have anybody that's a friend of mine can see that I've got like an upper right-hand corner where I use for development and dropping stuff for some of the updates and whatnot, where I can start kind of moving stuff or working stuff around before I buy new land and actually make something permanent. But yeah, once they did the whole easy to grab a section thing, I mean, nuking just seemed out of the question for me. Plus, I have been in the 10,000 items club for quite some time. I do get warned every time I place more than 7 items now. You're over 10,000 items. You know, it's going to ruin your game. I don't believe them. I keep adding. But anyway.
The area select tool is nice. For me, the reason I would nuke again is there's only like 2 areas that I really, really like. My Springfield Heights and my Boardwalk Pier section. So I feel like nuking, instead of just removing all the sections other than those 2, I could just quickly get rid of everything and start afresh. Yeah,
but I mean, I think the more daunting thing for me, and I hit on this a little bit, is the inventory. There's a lot of stuff in my inventory that I don't want, and it's in my inventory because I don't want it in Springfield. And I have a lot of stuff in my inventory that I don't necessarily, I have it just in case I decide to expand an area, like certain fences and stuff like that. But there's a lot of stuff I just don't want in my town. Like I have a lot of stuff from Time Travel Toaster that's in my inventory that I have no desire to have out in my Springfield. And the thought of nuking everything, having it all go into my inventory, and then trying to figure out, one, the inventory system sucks because it's, yes, they have everything in categories, but you can never find anything. If you have a massive inventory of things, you can't find anything. Like I have a hard time finding prizes I just won because it gets lost in this shuffle. And you think it's in alphabetical order, but it's not in alphabetical order. It's like alphabetical order of like category. It's very.
Well, what's weird, and I think this is a flaw in general, and I can't imagine from a technical standpoint it's good for the server load. But not being able to clear stuff out of your attic, in essence, to be able to block that, take that out of the database and just say, look, I'm never going to touch this, get rid of it. It's one thing. I mean, it's annoying that you can't sell everything, first of all. But if you can't get rid of it in storage, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I've been playing since 2012. I have loads and loads of stuff from past updates that I will never use. I have more, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fences and whatever that you won for free. It's like, no fences.
Well, I will say though that the not being able to sell stuff is a perfect example of being careful what you wish for, because I remember back in the early days of TSTO, people would accidentally sell things that they won with an event and there was no way to get it back. So they would complain and complain and complain and complain. Like that was like the #1 complaint I would hear. And same thing with like certain premium things. So EA, I want to say it was like back in early 2014, took away the ability to sell things you won from events. So that they wouldn't have that complaint. So it's like I said, it's a perfect example of be careful what you wish for, because people were complaining that they accidentally sold stuff, but then now they're complaining because they can't sell stuff. So there's no like happy medium.
We need like a Craigslist of this stuff where you can like go in and sell it, but then pull it off if you have buyer's remorse.
Well,
or something like the nuking button, where if you want to sell something, they'll ask you 4 times if you really want to sell.
Yeah, there you go. They do ask twice, though. So.
Well, I was going to say that there is a warning before you sell something. It says, "Are you sure you want to sell this for X amount of dollars?" So it's not. I never understood how people made that mistake as it was, because I was like, it warns you. How do you not know? Like, if something pops up in the game, I'm going to read it because I don't know what it is, unless it's dialogue, and then that's the one thing most people skim through. But like, you got a pop-up where you have to select an answer. Generally, you read it. So I was always like mind-boggled at how people would accidentally sell stuff, because I'm like, how do you accidentally sell it? It's just like people will be like, I accidentally bought donuts. I'm like, how do you accidentally buy donuts? Because you have to hit a series of buttons, put in your password, and like all kinds of things. So, I mean, but this is their way of being like, okay, well, if you want to bypass the answering the question of, you know, are you sure you want to sell this and you don't really want to pay attention? Well, then we'll just make it idiot proof and get rid of the thing altogether. So I think it'd be good to.
It leads though into that kind of player though that is more of a habit player. And this is, you know, we've had this discussion. We'll get into it at some other point about, you know, those that are like KEM farmers, etc. There's a ritual that starts happening to be able to do that efficiently that I've slowly but surely been drawn into. But the fact is that you do stuff automatically, almost by rote. And so you're not really paying attention. And so I think that players that are habit players that do the same routines over and over and over again could get stuck or surprised because they aren't paying attention.
Well, there are a number of players that we get comments frequently that say, hey, they raised the price of the Quickie Marts. And it's not that they raised the price of the Quickie Mart, it's that they stored it instead of selling it. And they don't realize it. So, yeah, I mean, I can see that, especially because the buttons are right next to each other.
That's hilarious. I know I've done that myself. What? Oh, wait a minute. Go back and read my own post.
Get that comment a lot.
Yeah, I see that comment at least once a week. Once a week.
Yeah,
they raised the price. No. You just put it out in your inventory.
Check your inventory. There it is.
So Ebron adds to this conversation and says, I can see the issue from EA's standpoint. Thousands of players changing their minds after deleting something, even after 2 warnings. So, yeah, I mean, I think a good way to help people, like with inventory issues and everything, is to fix the inventory. They made it a lot better than it used to be by adding the categories. But if they had like a way you can move stuff around in your inventory, like have a stuff I don't want section and just be able to move all your stuff to that. And then so you don't have to look at it.
As a programmer, how about just a search function, for God's sake? Yeah, that's not that hard. I mean, that is a programming tool. Is not that hard just to say, look, put in a keyword, look for this item, and bring it up. That's really simple.
Boom, all your fountains, fences, all your fences, boom.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Yeah. Don't you agree, Safi?
I do.
Aha! Yin and yang. Look at that. Just like that.
Symbiosis.
You guys are nuts. So, I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but Safi, you said you've nuked before. What was your rebuild process like? Like how long did it take you? What was your mindset like? You know, did you lay it out? Did you just kind of go as you went? How, you know?
I did lay it out. So I actually had an Excel spreadsheet where I designed where I'd like my monorail to go and what stations would be near it. So, of course, near the Mall-O-Rama station, I had all my shops and plazas. Near the Old West, I had a station. I had obviously the Old West section. So I had it really laid out like that. Near the Krusty station, I had Krusty Burger and the shuttle to Krusty Land. So I designed an Excel first, and I had an Excel spreadsheet that has all the land tiles counted out. So I roughly estimated where the houses would go, where the mansions would go, where the religious centers would go, where the educational area would be.
Why does this
probably doesn't surprise you guys much?
Somehow I'm just not surprised by any of this.
So, well, if you laid it out like that, and you like had a plan, and you were like, okay, I want this to go here, and you really thought, why do you want to nuke again?
So I love this. I loved my layout at that point, and this was about, or maybe about late 2016 that I did this. And since then, if you take a look at the top 3 rows of my Springfield, it has everything from all 6 major events from last year, and it has everything from all the mini events. So to incorporate all that into this would be just as daunting, I feel, as nuking and starting afresh.
Okay.
So you need a development area. I keep trying to tell you that having that upper right corner for development is the way to go.
See, and I go a different approach. I've got a section that I plop stuff down in for every event, but then I always keep the bottom areas and the side areas clear so that when, land is added, like if I really want something, like I have in my top corner, my top right corner, I have woods and my military section. I always want that to be in the far right top corner. So if we get more land, all I can do is just use the area select tool and shift it. I don't have to worry about. No
political statement there. There was no political statement involved with there at all. The military side of the far right.
I said the top right, but you know.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. Far top right.
Yeah, so I just that's where I want it because it doesn't make sense to go in the left because that's where the ocean is. Come on. So you want it to be in the woodsy area. So that's where I want that to go. And then I have like a Vegas strip and I've got like some desert area around that. And so when land is added, I can take the area select tool and shift sections over so that I've got other areas open. And I've got the whole bottom section. Like I still have 2 strips of land at the bottom because I don't necessarily need them right now. That I can always make changes to. And I think that's usually the better way to go is if you add from the bottom where they add land, you don't have to worry about this top section not fitting in because you've kind of got your stuff that you can work in other areas.
Yeah, the other thing I've done, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I
was going to say the other thing I've done that's worked out really well is that anybody that's gone into my town sees I have loads and loads of water areas where I have islands and water. Well, those can all be reclaimed by dredging. I just go in and turn them into land again if I need land. So what I've done is I've utilized the transporters very effectively. So I always have one transporter that's open that I use to go to wherever the update thing is. So on this one during the holidays, it would go over to my holiday land where I had the alien spaceship, whatever. But I could instantly go over to my Omega transporter, which is on the far right of the screen. And that's where I have my KEM farm just running in a big strip along one side, kind of in Nowheresville, divided off.
Your far right area generates money, is what you're telling me. Makes
Absolutely,
sense.
Absolutely. Sense. Yeah, in fact, jobs are being created as we speak.
Good. So, I mean, that's ideal. It's a donut producer area for you. I mean, that's premium stuff.
I know you'd come in there. Anyway, and ironically, my military school is over there, but it's right next to my wilderness area that's protected. So we're all safe. So what I can do is I can pop around really quickly. I have one sitting right next to my rail yard, so I can always go to my rail yard. I have one over in my mining town. I have one right next to my city hall, so I can always go in and manipulate anybody that I'm trying to find quickly to send on a new task, and then I have one that's random. So they're kind of all over the place, but I have lots and lots of water, and I have tons of land I haven't bought yet. So there you go.
So one of the things that actually takes up a lot of space in my town is I have 2-way streets with the monorail running in between them as well. Yeah. So I actually have my city pulled up. I don't know how well you guys can see that.
There you go.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
So I have the monorail kind of running in between the streets all through the town. So there's not a part of my town that the monorail doesn't reach. It'll go like here's the governmental area with the DMV, the IRS, the post office, the health area with the hospitals, Dr. Hibbert's, the HMO, City Hall, and the courthouse with the little Central Park area with the statue in front. So organized there. But if you go all the way to the top, past the casino section, the monorail runs through the casino section as well. I just have this giant flop of mess that has like everything from the mystery boxes.
That's a lot of large lands.
That's a lot of lands.
Everything from the time traveling toaster, everything from the spy game, from Pin Pals, from around the world, just sitting in a giant mess. Whereas everything kind of below that, it's just a huge area of mess. So you know what? Actually, I think while I have the city open, I'm going to go ahead and nuke right now.
No!
Yes, I just want to take a look at my percentage so that if I'm missing anything, I can make a complaint. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot. Sorry, 1 second. Okay,
this is a detailed conversation about how to nuke too.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you're watching the podcast, you may want to pull over to the side of this road and actually pull up the video.
Okay, before you nuke, can I go get my doomsday supplies and go down to the basement, please?
I forgot my hard hat today.
That's right.
So Just remind me how to nuke again. Oh wait, here we
move
go.
menu.
So you hit the
Big nuke button.
and that giant explosive button. So do you want to place all your items into the inventory? Yes, I do. You can't undo this action. You'll have to unpack your entire Springfield. Yes, that's fine with me. So just making sure you didn't press the yes button twice by accident. Yes, I'm serious. And there are no more jokes after this. Just an obliterated Springfield and a lot of pulling stuff out of storage.
Wow.
All right, yeah, let's do it.
Wow.
Painful.
So when's the next Addicts Live?
2 weeks.
2 weeks? All right, I'll give you guys an update in 2 weeks.
It's still going to be a barren wasteland.
No, it's just going to be nothing but the lard lad donuts. Just a whole plethora of lard land. Wow. I'm weirdly proud of you for doing it, and at the same time, it gives me the creeps.
This is how much stuff he has, though. Look how long it's taken to reload.
Yeah.
Any comments about this?
Not yet.
So there we go. I have the Simpsons house.
That's all you get back. Homer, Lisa, and the Simpsons house.
And the squid port should still be there. There's the rail yard. And there's the squid port. That's pretty much all that should be out, I think. I may have some stuff from the ongoing. Oh, there's the ornate pier. I should have shown you guys my Springfield Heights. I was really proud of that. There's Homer and Lisa. Oh, the tunnel's still there. The Homer Leias are still there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's
some standalone characters.
Let me guess that the crop of three-eyed fish just quadrupled. I'm going to guess.
So
yeah, my inventory is going to be full right now.
So I will say, like I was saying before, back in 2013 when I stored everything and rebuilt my Springfield, I also came up with a plan. I just took graph paper and kind of just sketched it out because it was much smaller at that point.
No Excel spreadsheet.
No Excel spreadsheet. I just kind of was like, okay, I want this to go here, and I didn't know if it was going to measure out perfectly because I didn't care. But just a rough idea. And I will say that does help. So if you're thinking about redoing it, having some sort of a plan does help to make the process go a little bit better. But it's a daunting task.
The closest I can come to nuking is that I am planning on redoing my monorail layout at some point, and there's hundreds and hundreds of track. Mine goes all over just like Safi's used to, but what I want to do is right now it runs about 9.5 minutes to go back and forth because I don't have a continuous loop. What I want to do is have two rail lines sitting side by side, one going east, one going west, and doing its thing that way. So I'm going to have to retool that, but that's going to take hours and hours and hours and hours, which is why I haven't done it until after the wedding. AW, as we call it now. So,
I mean, all my Christmas stuff is sitting in my area where I just plop stuff down from events, and I love Christmas, and I know how I'm going to work it in. But I'm just not ready to sit and do that daunting task because that's going to take me time. So I couldn't even imagine rebuilding my entire Springfield now. So good luck, Saf.
I regret my decision. Still.
Well, you had four warnings.
I was going to say, you got sucked into the cult of personality here. You thought this would be a great entertainment piece, and now you're regretting it. So.
Oh man. All right, let's take a couple comments. Jay Cooling9 says, I think that I'm the complete opposite of a nuker. I haven't even moved The Simpsons, Flanders, or Brown House from the initial placement from the level 1 demo. I've been playing since Thanksgiving 2014.
Yeah, that's
me too.
That's definitely the opposite of a nuker.
So Duffman Jake says 2 things. First, I nuked my Springfield back in 2015, and I have been rebuilding it ever since, trying to find the time to design and play through the bombardment of events and mini events, as well as live life is an ever constant struggle. And second, I have been, it's been almost 24 hours since I've been able to log in. I've done all the tricks, still can't connect. How many others are sharing in Spain? The servers have been acting funny. There is a post, and I'll link it in the show notes after this, but if you search our site and say like the servers are down or something like that, what can I do? There'll be a a post that will actually have a link to take you to the origin server status, and it'll tell you if the servers are down. And
bearing in mind that again, there's multiple servers, so it could be a zone thing where Europe is down and the United States is up.
I mean, clearly Safi could get in.
Yeah, and then we're all
that's good.
Well, I didn't touch my. All I did yesterday was do my KEM farming, and that was it. I was completely bogged down with business yesterday, so I missed all the outages. So I don't know if we got hit by it or not. To be honest with you, whenever I went in to clear every 4 hours, I had no issue getting in and clearing and moving on. But
yeah, I haven't been in my game, so I finished the mini event. I'm taking a little bit of a breather. Let's see. Amelia Cooper says, the further you progress in the game, the more stuff you get, the less you are prone to nuke. And
I agree.
Fred said, who knew Safi would be the first to push the nuke button?
True. You know why? 'Cause he's up in Canada where it's safe. He's away from the fallout zone.
I want to go now and read a couple comments that stood out to me from the post we did, like we were talking about at the top of the show back in November about going nuclear. Some of the reader comments are some really good comments and people that normally don't comment during Addicts Live. So I wanted to kind of read these because they're pretty good. Some good advice. Again, I would encourage you, though, if you're thinking about nuking, read that post, not the post itself, read the comments because there's a lot of really good tips, tricks, advice in there from readers. So Tomas says, I confess I did it once. It took a long time to mature to the decision, and I don't regret it. Beforehand, I made screenshots of those Springfield quarters I believed were well-designed and wanted to rebuild them exactly the same. Then once nuked, I prepared some sketches on paper and applied them in the game. I strongly recommend it to everyone. When one plays, only a small piece of the city is visible. Once you start drawing, you can add some reason and sense to your design, especially when planning monorail, rivers, residential, industrial, entertainment divisions. It took me a few days, I'd say a week to perfect the new design. I also burned fingers because the processor at my mobile was going hot like crazy, but it was totally worth it.
I agree, and I should point out before I did the nuke, I just did like one sample of taking a screenshot of my percentage, but an hour ago I'd taken pictures of my Springfield Heights, of my boardwalk and pier, and the areas that I did like. Yeah, so I definitely recommend that. I agree with him.
It's funny is that back in, this brings up a funny topic, back in like 14 maybe 15, but I think it was like 14. There was a couple of developers that were trying to come up with an app that you could go in and take a screenshot, a full-size screenshot of your entire town, which I think,
Spencer did it. It was Spencer.
Yeah, no, I was going to bring up his. I didn't know if he was, if you couldn't use his name or not. But yeah, no, the interesting thing is, I'm surprised EA's never come up with that because I would pay money for that. I'd pay $10. I'd pay $20 maybe to have a tool that I'm giving them an evil idea, I suppose, where I could literally take a full screenshot, full resolution screenshot, and save it off as a PDF or save it off as a graphic.
Yeah.
Because there's parts of my town, and this is the real reason, there's parts of my town that took me a ton of time to design it. And the weird things that most people don't pick up. I've got this right behind my Buddhist temple. I've got this huge design of trees and flowers that kind of just sits randomly, and then growing up out of the middle of it is the giant redwood. But the point is that thing has got hundreds and hundreds of pieces in it, and it took me forever to get the design to work right. I also have the infamous Peeing Man, which has my waterfall, my Springfield waterfall in it, that, again, it's like the way it's placed would take me forever to get everything else to work around it. So it's like, I don't want to do it. So anyway, there you go.
So Kitty says, hi, Alyssa. Thank you for the post. The scariest post you have ever written. Why is it scary? Even though it's just a game, I have put so much effort into designing my town, and there are areas of my town that took hours to perfect, not consistent hours, but overall hours. So the thought of restarting it all from the beginning sounds scary. I I don't think I could or would ever start my town over again. I do, however, sometimes store little certain sections of my town to redesign that particular area. If I did push that scary button and stored my whole town, I wouldn't play the game anymore. But I would use flowers and other pretty decorations to write a goodbye message to my neighbors to explain what had happened. The only good point is the game is life-ruiningly fun. At least I would have my life back unruined.
You'd like leave a suicide note. I'm so sorry that I'm killing my town that you've been visiting for a year. Yeah.
So it's like two opposite perspectives. Hassan Pfeffer says, my main reason for not going nuclear is related to one of my wishes for the game, the ability to efficiently copy, paste, save, and move segments of Springfield efficiently, including roads, pavements, water, etc. We've all been there, right? Got a new strip of land to the southeast, but we really wanted to shift a whole bunch of Springfield towards that edge and add a new building space in the middle, where it's more useful. Either that, or I spent weeks getting one little area just right. Maybe it's a set of decorations that make a cool illusion or a magnifying glass to line up with a stick of dynamite right next to the general store. Whatever it is, it's just too good to just throw away, right? So I really doubt I'll ever go nuclear. I wipe sections from time to time, but everything all at once? Nope, not likely. I like the magnifying glass to light a stick of dynamite. That's kind of funny. Cozy59 says, I've nuked twice. The first rebuild was fine. The second was a disaster. The reason is the change EA made to the inventory, whereby you've returned to the start after you've placed an item and you re-enter to place another. This greatly increases the time it takes to place, for example, trees, because if you place one of species A in the open inventory and open the inventory to get one of species B, you get taken back to the start of your inventory rather than back to species A, where you were. It makes it painful if you're waiting to place a mix of trees, if you're wanting to place a mix of trees, fences, bench, rocky outcrops, etc. in one area of your town. The only solution is to place a dozen of species A at the same time in the bare land wherever you're building, and then go in and grab dozens of B's, C's, and D's until you have a huge store of them in your map. Then you place them individually. And that it used to be fun rebuilding Springfield after a nuke, but the time it takes now has rendered it a nightmare. I would caution anyone before pushing that button.
Yeah, and to my point, I don't know if you can see this. Is this readable? Yeah, yes. If you look how many little plants I have in there. I have gazillions of little plants that are all different in that one area. Imagine how long that would take, the way he just described it. Going in one plant at a time. No, thank you. I would kill myself.
I should have read that.
For real. And I wouldn't leave a note.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking.
Julia says, I've gone nuclear quite a few times, including several times before there was such a handy button to do the hard work, storing it all at once for me. Most recently, I went nuclear in the lull before Halloween. I enjoy redesigning and like to make my town as realistic as possible while remaining as easily tappable as possible. It takes me about a week to redesign, though I'm still finding out some areas with decorations, trees, etc. I'm still filling out, areas with decorations, trees, etc. My favorite part of this latest redesign is that I'm using Springfield Heights as a catch-all for random XP bonus items and cash-earning buildings that don't really fit in my town. I'm not a fan of Springfield Heights anyway, so it is a great way to use those to get those bonuses and income buildings without messing up my regular Springfield. And the last one is from Charlotte865. I have nuked once. After 2 years of playing the game, land was scarce in those days, and I needed to make better use of it. I have no regrets. Before I hit that button, I made sure I had a good cash reserve, did the research, worked out which items had XP multipliers, and also sketched out where I wanted different precincts to go. Having regard to some of those parameters of my Simpsons world, but not absolutely. My hometown, Christchurch, New Zealand, was devastated by earthquakes in February 2011. I used some of the ideas from my rebuild proposals. I used some of the ideas from the rebuild proposals in my town. Once I hit the button, I pulled out all the XP multiplier items and then laid out my town on a grid using the orange road cones. I think they're called something different in the game in the USA. I think they're pylons. I then started laying out different areas, first dumping items to get them out, earning revenue, and then polishing and perfecting. I really enjoyed the experience. I probably don't need to do it again, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. So that's the last reader comment I wanted to share. I don't know if you guys saw any in there that stood out to you.
It is interesting how everybody has different ways that they think about the sentimental part of their town. I mean, there was a lot of comments all had something to do with something that's really personal, which it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of great opinions and views there. Definitely recommend everyone look that over if they're thinking about nuking.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a ton. Obviously just reading those took a lot of time, and I couldn't read. I mean, there were almost 200 comments. For me to read every single one of them out there would be hard. But there's some really good comments. I really encourage everyone to go to that post and read those comments if you're thinking about nuking your town, because it's some good ideas, some good tips, and some good warnings as well. Back to current comments. Handsome Hank says, I won't nuke, as I agree I have way too many trees, flowers, etc., but would be a major headache. I move sections and designs instead. And Tunis says, I have too many areas I love and add to those occasionally. I love the select tool, just wish it worked with roads, water, and paths. So moving designs with those tiles would be easier. I really hope the next major game improvement is more design tools and a better inventory system. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It is really annoying when you've got a section you really love with roads and pavement and everything, and you go to move it and the roads stay where they are.
Yeah. Although, let's be honest about it. I mean, if you think about the complexity of the design, this is kind of like Sim City on steroids with the options we have. So in defense of EA, I think that any major change they make like that is a programming nightmare in regards to what it does to the database and how things happen. But I don't know. That's the thing. That's frankly the thing keeps me coming back to this game is the design possibility. It's fun. It's just fun to make stuff,
Yeah. It's they've got some good tools in here. So I mean, we've pretty much talked about everything in one way or another. I was thinking about talking about with nuking. I mean, we've discussed that playing the game for a longer period of time as older players, not that we're old, but playing the game for a while, we're less likely to nuke.
Actually,
we're less likely to nuke though because we have areas that we're attached to, and we saw that in those comments too. Sometimes you just have certain areas that you've built and you love. Like for me, I've got an area in my town where my waterfall is, and the way everything flows to it, and I've got some 3D design work, and I would never change that. I really like how that's set up, and I don't know that I could go back to have the patience to redo all that again, because when I did it the first time, I didn't have a kid. So,
there you go.
There's a lot of things that would be different this time around. So, I just think a lot of times you have areas you're just really attached to, and maybe if you're a newer player and you end up nuking, and then you have a town that you're attached to, you'd be in the same process as well. You wouldn't want to make changes to certain things because you just love how they're laid out, and everything, especially with that move tool, everything is adaptable now. You can. Yeah. I mean, I moved my entire Christmas section used to sit closer to my Simpsons house. I moved the entire thing further to the bottom of Springfield so that I can make the area bigger. Just because, but I was able to just move that whole section and then expand it rather than having
to that point, you could move an entire third of your town, or just save that part of the town, which I think is a brilliant option. Again, it's not as hardcore as nuking, but I get it. Now that I know that Safi spent more time on his spreadsheet than he will building his town, I'm fine with it. Go ahead, nuke away, Saf. You're good.
It's a safer bet. The move tool. It's you don't have any remorse when you do it because you're like, okay, I just move this and I still have it's still exactly as it was. It's just in a different section. So,
although I did have a minor disaster when I was trying to tap at book club last weekend. I kind of was doing it kind of without under the table while we were eating, and I ended up holding my finger too long while I was talking to somebody, and didn't realize I'd grabbed a whole huge section when I thought I was just clearing quickie marts, and ended up storing like a big giant chunk of my town. It wasn't good. So
you gotta be careful.
And then I had to try and keep it cool because I couldn't reveal why I had suddenly started sweating bullets, in the middle of a conversation about a dumb book. What's wrong with you, Pat? Well, I might be having a stroke. I'm not sure. We'll go with that.
It's probably that's probably less embarrassing, I guess, if you say you might be having a stroke. Then
yeah, exactly.
I accidentally stored a whole section of my Springfield. You're what?
Yeah. Although my book club they're pretty cool because they've, since we wrote the book and since they've followed all the Ouija stuff, they give me a pass whenever I have to go play the game. But this was one of those things where we were having a formal dinner. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm really not supposed to be doing this at a formal dinner. But anyway.
So
it was funny.
Any other thoughts about nuking?
Not really. I mean,
put the button away.
If you're ready, I'd recommend start by taking out all your characters so that you can use them to earn money. If you're a Quickie Mart farmer, take out all the items that give you your XP bonus back. Go from there.
Good advice. Just a couple questions this week for Q&A. Carrie Rose says, do you think that there will be an event that will tie into the Winter Olympics? It's possible. I mean, we had a Summer Games one in 2016, so it's possible we might see something little in February.
Maybe this is. I'm going to guess this is going to be the most underrated Olympics broadcast ever. It's weird. I mean, other than the whole drama with
the Koreas,
Lindsey Vonn, whether she's going to ski or not, or be injured or whatever. It's almost like watching Tiger come back to golf.
Patrick, not everyone's American.
This is true.
So
this is their chance to rub our nose in it, right? This is
their thing because they don't have, all the sports like we do.
Yeah, they're saying Canada might win a record number of medals this time around.
Well,
Canada might get 4?
Ooh,
this is the Winter Olympics. I would like you to check out the standings the last couple.
I'm just teasing.
No, and actually, your rate just went up when they blew up the Russians. So now, now you've got. It's like the what was the year that the Russians didn't come to the LA Summer Games and we won everything?
Yeah, 84.
Yeah, there you go. So this is the 84 Olympics for the Canadians in winter. So.
We'll see.
I think the flags will be back. Yeah, my guess is the flags will be back for a ridiculous price. I don't know about an event.
So, I mean, the next question asks, what do we think the next thing we'll see in TSTO is, and when we'll think, okay, so I'm going to tie the two of these into each other. I think the next thing we're either going to see another little, like, teaser thing like we did last year for Around the World where we had that little Chinese New Year thing that hit right around this time. Because the mini event ends Tuesday. So they're going to need something in the game Wednesday. So we might see a little teaser thing. And we've been getting those, like we got it before Christmas. We got it before Homerpalooza. So we might get some little teaser and then have a big event start in January, the end of January. Because I do think this is a little too early to start the next big event. So I do think that'll happen like that last week of January. Like I think it's the 30th, which is a Tuesday. So if we get a winner,
just so you know, I sent a note to EA to delay it until after February 3rd. Sorry. So,
AW
wedding week.
Her wedding's isn't her wedding the day before the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Yeah. So their after wedding party is going to be a Super Bowl party, if you can imagine that. So yeah. Whatever. I'm in shock mode right now. I'm just kind of cruising along with wide-eyed, deer in the headlights look. Oh God, we're almost there. So
and
anyway,
then you only have one more. So you're
she is promised. I made her sign. She's going to wait 2 years before she gets married. Because 2 in 1 year, man, talk about almost killing me. Anyway, bottom line is, I would like them to delay it until after February 3rd, if you don't mind. So.
Well, EA, take note. But I don't think that'll happen especially because you're like their public enemy number 1, Pat.
I understand that.
So, but and then I think if we do get a Olympic thing, if it is during an event, it'll just be a couple little things added to it, similar to how like St. Patrick's Day came, where we just had some items in the store. You might get the torch again. Like they've already done an Olympic thing, so I don't know that we'd actually get a full blown mini event, especially based on when the Olympics are and relative to the next schedule for the next event. But you might get some items back in the store because there's only so much Olympic stuff they can give you anyway, unless we get.
I have
Like
a great idea. You keep the snow around, and then you turn Bart's skateboard gully thing into snowboards. You'd have a skin that would turn into a snowboard.
Well, you have the hockey episode with Lisa and Bart's hockey skins.
Well, they have the curling
episode.
Yeah,
there's a lot of the skiing. There's tons of winter activities that you could bring in.
Okay, so
yeah.
Maybe that'll be the next event. Maybe the next event will be a Winter Olympics event. Maybe we'll see it in January, even though the Olympics aren't until like the end of February. But so yeah, I do think that that's what's going to happen. As far as what we're going to see, I don't know. It's been a little while since we saw teaser info in the App Store. A lot of stuff we saw kind of already happened. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. You guys have any thoughts?
I don't have a sense of it at all. You're way better. You're more on top of it than I am. I have no sense of it at all.
I just follow the patterns. I know what they've done in the past, and you just.
I think you're timing right. Yeah.
Joe is usually better. Sorry, Zeph.
Yeah. No, I was just saying. Yeah. Bring on anything, but I'll be happy for any new content, new events. But yeah, Mookstradamus is definitely better at guessing, I guess.
Yeah, he's better at making event predictions. I'm better at timing. So
you're also better at getting up with an alarm, apparently. So
well, yeah.
Zing.
It's 3 hours later here. But I also have a 2-year-old who this morning was up at 6. So I've been up for a while.
I get up at 6 every day. I can't help myself. It's bad.
Personally, I'm hoping to go take a nap after the show is done. I'm a little tired. So
go
do wedding stuff.
Oh joy!
In Wook's defense, if I was on the West Coast, I would have missed every Addicts live too. Yeah, usually I'm sleeping until about 9:30, 10 on something. Well, you've seen me. There's been a couple of Saturdays where I woke up right before this new.
You mean every Saturday?
No. I mean, I was here. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Every Saturday.
You youngsters, man. You youngsters. I tell you. No, if I sleep to 6:15 on any day, I've slept in. So.
Well, for me, sleeping in is sleeping till 7:45. So
there you go.
But anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
Nope. I'll give you guys.
No, I mean, I think it's been a pretty smooth ride from the winter event into this event, and for that I'm thankful. I admit readily I didn't go check the spam box. I didn't see a lot of deleted stuff. I didn't realize you were just dropping it in spam. So I will check that. That sounds interesting. But at least
the ones I deleted were mild. The ones I put in spam were not. I don't want those people on the site ever again.
I mean, look, I'm just going to end it by saying, look, at this point, for somebody who is old, who has seen it all, who has been through it all, who works in broadcasting, who's been down this road, man, I am so tired of polarization. I'm done with it. So don't ever write me anything about your side or my side or whatever. I am apolitical. I'm the Groucho party now. I will not belong to any party that would have me as a member. There you go. So let's just get stuff done. Let's just get things done. I'm done talking about it. Let's get stuff done. So stop writing.
On that note, the next episode will be January 27th, so 2 Saturdays from today. And that'll be the last episode. Patrick will be after that episode, Patrick will have another son in his family. So he'll probably be a little more bugged out than he is today. So
no, I'll be fine. I mean, no, actually, it's funny. The 27th is
the week before the wedding.
Yeah, so almost everybody will be in country, as we call it at that point. So the newlyweds will be up here on the 27th, and then all of the family starts showing up that week. So that'll be the last time I have like this look on my face, and then after that, I'll be like normal. I'll be like relaxed.
Yeah, we'll get Patrick back 2 weeks after that.
Yeah, there you go.
So, all right. Anyone else have anything they want to add? Say everybody's good. Anything they want to plug?
Go Marcus Mariota. Pull out another one.
Football today.
Go Saints.
Listen, guys, I'm waiting for baseball. I'm like itching for baseball. I could care less.
There you go.
Bring me spring training.
There you go.
All right, guys. We will see everyone in 2 weeks. Have a good rest of your Saturday. Thanks for the fantastic conversation about nuking. And we'll see
And a
everyone.
live nuke. Who ever would have thought a live nuke would happen on TV?
Scary stuff. But now you know you can't just push the button. There's 4 warnings. So you're not going to push the button and your town's not going to disappear. So, all right, guys. We will see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Later.